Good morning, and thanks for having me here today. I'm going to kind of zoom back a little bit and talk about what is AI and what is it not. There have been so many narratives about AI, many of them written by Hollywood, which I think is worth sort of dispelling. So I'd like to say that AI today is both artificially inflated, and AI today is also accelerated innovations. Now, so I'm going to, over the next 15 minutes or so, give you examples of practical AI and how it's being implemented. The thing I do want to say is I do believe that this technology is something, and the Google CEO said that AI over time is going to be as impactful, if not more, than fire and electricity was to mankind. That's quite a statement coming from the CEO of Google. And I do believe that is the case. I mean, just like the Industrial Revolution amplified our arms and legs, I believe AI, which is not just machine learning, which is a lot more than that, I believe AI is going to amplify our brains. And there will be a time where we will stop trying to outrun a car or outfly an airplane, and that's what AI is going to bring about, are processes that run like a car or processes that fly like a plane. And we got to figure out a way, rather than competing with those, how do we put more people on it and start benefiting from it? So the discussion primarily is going to be around the fact that AI now has become the new frontier for digital transformation. So last year, mobile was the frontier for digital transformation. Year before that, it was, the decade before that was the web. So when people use digital transformation, immediately they now start talking about AI. And CEOs from Google and IBM and Microsoft have said that this is the next 20 or 50-year shift in terms of how we're going to start making decisions and running processes. And when most people think of AI, they think of this. They think of it's either going to kill me or it's going to take my job. And the narrative for AI today is being written by either Hollywood or I call glue-sniffing marketers from big companies. The value of AI is not building this general-purpose brain. The value of AI is applying it deep in a vertical around specific processes that require insights in context and learning from those actions. So when we think of AI, in the case of CognitiveScale, we talk about AI as augmented intelligence. So you can apply AI two ways: to automate and replace a job, or to augment and amplify a job. AI is supposed to take away 8 million jobs in the next 4 years, and I think it will, and it will be incredibly disruptive. But there are 1.2 billion other jobs that AI is going to amplify, and that's sort of what we focus on, is every big technology always dislocates jobs. And I'm not mitigating AI. AI is going to come after white-collar jobs, which has not been the case so far, and there will be significant disruptions. But for the purposes of our talk, I'm going to talk about how core processes in the enterprise are going to get transformed. And there was a study that was done that proves the point around augmentation is a much bigger opportunity with AI than automation, this ability to build new processes and new applications. I remain convinced that AI will have more impact on your market than spreadsheets did, a factor of bigger than what spreadsheets did. It completely transformed how you work. And I think AI is going to do that in a much bigger scale. And AI, and when I said it's a new frontier for transformation, it's not just one thing. AI is a culmination of all these seven technologies, right? Cloud, social, mobile, big data, machine learning, blockchain, all of these put together is what AI is. Equating AI to machine learning is like equating a car to a clutch box or a gearbox, or saying chatbot or natural language processing. These are components of what makes a self-driving business. So just like there are self-driving cars, there will be self-driving and self-learning business processes. And that's what AI. So one of the biggest myths with AI is that it's equated with machine learning. In 3 years, we're going to stop talking about machine learning. Doing a machine learning model will be like publishing a web page. It's not enough to build a machine learning model. How do you put that into a process? How do you make it explainable? 99.9% of AI companies today are not enterprise ready. Their AI cannot explain itself. It's one thing to say it's a dog or a cat on the internet. Another thing to say, I denied a claim, the patient died, I'm getting sued for $40 million, and I can't explain to you why my algorithm said to do that. Right? So there's a lot of stuff. There are 7 other, we call it the essential 8. There's 7 other capabilities like that for enterprise-grade AI that people are not talking enough about, and those get done in the context of a domain or an industry. So where is AI today in the enterprise? It's both of these. There will be hundreds, if not thousands, of walking dead in the AI space in the next 2 years. I said this of big data 3 years ago. A lot of people are doing AI because they think they can write a model, therefore they are AI, not because they should. To really get AI into the enterprise, there is a tremendous amount of discipline around weaving in intelligence into business processes, around security, performance, compliance, ethics, this whole Facebook thing. I'm teaching a course next year at the UT Austin around ethics of AI. How do you address human morality in the digital age? How does AI do fairness? There's a bunch of things that are coming up, but that needs to be looked at. So the 5 things, I've probably done 500 of these talks over the last 5 years. So when I was running Watson, now that I'm running a venture fund. And here are the 5 things that I've learned on AI. One, it's poorly understood. Second, big data and analytics are AI. These are components of AI. Just because you can sense more doesn't make you smarter. What big data gives you is ability to sense more. It doesn't make your brain smarter. That was the case. A librarian would be the smartest person on earth because she's sitting surrounded by all the books, right? She can read. NLP, machine learning, and deep learning are AI. These are just components and technologies that help with pattern recognition. Robotic process automation is AI. This addresses only a small portion of the jobs that can be automated, and a lot of rules companies now are saying they are an AI company. And enterprise AI can be an opaque black box that I talked about. It has to be explainable. And lastly, data science platform alone can deliver results. There is a massive chasm today. Companies that have invested billions of dollars. The one company I was talking to, $10 billion IT budget, not been able to take any products into production because there's a gap between data science and software development. Publishing a model versus publishing a business process that can be scaled is a whole different ballgame. So there is a massive gap in the enterprise. So what is at the heart of it, what AI does for you all is just 2 things. One, it has the ability for it to reason over unstructured data. Like you just saw, it can reason over news feeds, it can reason over images. I can point a camera to the chandelier and say, who is the architect of that? It can answer that question now. Because before, we could not reason across unstructured data. That's the first thing an AI does. Second thing is it learns continuously from actions. So if anyone comes and says to you, I've got an AI system, ask those 2 questions. Can you reason across all available data? Can you then deliver insights that are personalized to me and learn from those insights based on the action that I take? And that's where I'm not going to go into blockchain. Blockchain and AI are a marriage made in heaven. If AI is the self-driving car, blockchain is the guardrails. It builds the trust and it builds the compliance to make sure that it stays on track. And where do these categories fit in? So you have BI market, you have big data analytics market, which lets you analyze large unstructured data. You got machine learning, which lets you spot patterns in big data. You got cognitive computing, which mimics the human brain, Alexa and Watson and all. Then you got augmented intelligence, which are intelligent business processes and intelligent decisions. So we call it at CognitiveScale, we are building the operating system for Iron Man Jarvis suit. So every knowledge worker will have their own Iron Man Jarvis. So when I'm looking at a piece of data, I'm having the power of 10,000 best traders standing behind me because I have this 500-year-old brain sitting in the basement, reading in all the stuff and getting smarter. And everyone gets a personalized suit. When you start looking at it, it makes every knowledge worker the smartest knowledge worker. That's what we define by augmented intelligence. Where the machine taps you on the shoulder and says, did you know this, or you should consider this, right? Because machines can do these much bigger and faster, like we saw the AlphaGo example, than a human brain can. Machine never forgets. It can detect patterns at a much bigger scale. It can learn at a much faster pace than we do. So it's no point outrunning a car or outflying an airplane. You got to figure out, how do I put this to work so that I can make better decisions and I can have a better outcome with it. In the interest of time, I'm going to just go one quick example. This is an example of Dallas Children's Hospital. Where's the timer at? I want to make sure I stay on the time. Okay, sorry. This is an example in Dallas Children's Hospital where they have 60,000 kids with asthma in Dallas. And they have 40 nurses whose job it is to make sure that these kids don't show up with an asthmatic attack. But the problem is they only look at electronic medical record data, and they look at patient scheduling, who has missed what appointments, and they keep doing the same thing again and again. Depending on where the child is located, depending on what's happening in the weather, there is a lot of things that could happen that may get the kid into an ER overnight. So here's what we did for them 3 years ago. At the heart, think of an AI as an intelligent API. It can be plugged into a browser, into a mobile phone, into an ATM kiosk, into even my glasses very soon, because the world's going to become my browser, and my sentiment and my voice is going to trigger things. So here what we did is we plugged in the EMR data, electronic medical records, and the patient data into our cognitive cloud. So this intelligent cloud. And then we plugged in US Census, so we could plot exactly where each child was. We plugged in Google Maps, so we know exactly what transportation access they had. We plugged in ZocDoc, which tells you what hospital is in what area near that patient. And then we plugged in Poland.com, which is blogging and tweeting every so often about what's happening in the environment. So Thursday night, when the nurse is sleeping, Poland.com tweets, there is going to be a ragweed outbreak at Tuesday at 10 o'clock Central Time in this particular zip code. Because our cognitive applications knows that as a trusted data source, and ragweed is an important concept because it has the knowledge graph, it starts writing an analytic on its own. It says, diagnostic. I know this is an important business event. There are 5 variants of ragweed. There are 17 children that are at risk. I'm looking at the ER in that zip code because I know the zip code is within my location, and Tuesday is 4 days away. And I know that 3 of the 17 kids have been admitted in the last 90 days. Then it says predictive. I'm predicting that 4 of these kids are going to show up at an ER come Tuesday, and you're not going to get paid for one of them. This is when the fun starts. It starts prescribing. It says, here are the 4 actions you can take. Number 1, email the kids' parents and say, send an inhaler to school with them. Number 2, call the school nurses, and here are the phone numbers, and tell them, do not send the kids out to play that afternoon. Number 3, mail an inhaler. Number 4, send them a coupon for Uber and say, come to our hospital, pick up that inhaler. Okay? This is where the AI is not making you operate as the smartest nurse. This is what the best, smartest nurse have done in the past. Then after the event passes on Wednesday, it says, what happened? Did 4 show up? Did 7 show up? Did 2 show up? And what option was used that drove the best outcome? And it goes back and updates the knowledge graph to say, for these kinds of conditions, situations, this is the best action. When the nurse wakes up on Friday morning, he gets a text message saying, click on this for your personalized insights of what's happening to your job and your business. And he clicks on it and gets like a Google News Digest. So this is an example where the machine is augmenting your intelligence because there's 3 types of information in the world. There is stuff you know, there is some of which is wrong. There is stuff you know you don't know. There is stuff you don't know you don't know. Augmented intelligence works in the 3rd bucket. Stuff you don't know that you don't know. Where the machine starts telling you, did you know there is a Poland attack on Tuesday? Did you know you have 17 kids? And here are the things. So this is an example, and I'm going to just kind of move this along. This is the process for care delivery. Every industry, we have 4 industries we focus on: banks, insurance, telecom, media, technology, and healthcare. And we've identified these high-value processes that AI is going to completely transform. And I'm not going to go through this. This is a claims process in insurance, where we decided USAA, which is one of our customers and investors, they flew a drone the day before a hurricane, and then they flew a drone the day after, and our Cortex platform understands images and videos, and we start telling them how many homes are going to be a wipeout, and start depositing money directly that night, so they can get the best contractors, that way you have the highest customer satisfaction. So this is now taking drone data as input into a claims process, image and video. That's something before you did not. You flew in people after 2 days of the hurricane to find out exactly what's going on. And the reason I get called in to talk to a lot of boards and CEOs is this is the problem. The AI, as I have said, is too important to be left to technologists alone. AI is a strategic business capability and it's going to transform your business models. Here, the world's largest taxi company doesn't own any taxis, Uber. The world's largest hotel company doesn't own any hotels, Airbnb, so on and so forth. The largest movie theater in the world doesn't own any theaters, Netflix. All of these are technology companies that are engaging customers in a brilliant way, and they're disrupting business models. That's what everyone's worried about. That's an example of Wells Fargo getting unbundled. Those are all the startups going after every product and piece in Wells Fargo. That's an example of Procter & Gamble. You heard of the Dollar Shaving Club. $1 will give you the razor every month. That's one of the highest margin products for Procter & Gamble. And you have startups now creating individual experiences, understanding your profile and engaging you and unbundling your business. And this is happening at a faster and faster pace. It took WhatsApp 5 years and 55 employees to get to 450 million users. It took Vodafone 23 years and 92,000 employees to get to that number. Okay? And access, because of connectivity, is coming up faster and faster if you invent a new digital service. It took telephone 75 years to get to 50 million users. Angry Birds got there in 35 days. right? And Pokemon Go got there in 14 days. That is what's keeping boards and CEOs worried, saying, if I come up with an AI-powered process or a product, I now have this global distribution mechanism. Truly, the revolution, the theme that Armando and team talked about, is what is at the doorstep. Is if you don't get on this now, you're exponentially going to get left behind. That's the part, because an AI system gains value over time exponentially. Traditional IT systems were rules-based systems. They don't learn. They are linear improvement. An AI system learns exponentially. So if you're not in it now, and if others are, they will start distancing you at a pace that even if you catch up a year from now or 2 years from now, it's going to be way too late, because the knowledge flywheel is going to go much faster and going to give them the new competitive edge. And these are the big issues that I see in terms of adoption of AI in the enterprise today. Number one, C-suite thinks AI is data science. It's like saying car equals transmission, right? They got to really look at it and say, I'm no longer in the horse buggy era. The automotive era is here. Let me understand the whole car. But not just so. People equate data science and machine learning and TensorFlow to AI, right? And it's way bigger than that. It's around intelligent processes and around intelligent decision making. Models feed into that. Second, the use cases are very unclear. And that's why in the industries we go in with a heat map. Wealth management right here with Barclays, we completely transformed how Barclays does engagement of investors. So this next generation intelligence, their CEO quit the job and now is starting a new company to use AI to transform next generation asset intelligence, right? So treasury management, retail investors. How do you personalize and engage every retail investor so that they are treated as your highest net worth individual? How do I get them intelligent insights through an app, okay? How do I get in the mid-office my wealth manager to be able to support 200 people and not 20 people? And then in the back office, how do I make sure that the insights that are being delivered are not violating regulations so I don't get slapped with a fine for selling products I shouldn't have sold? So AI today, just in wealth management alone, right here in Barclays, we are modifying front office, mid office, and back office with it. And you can look at this for treasury, you're looking at it for mutual funds, you're looking at it for hedge funds. Multiple processes like that are going to be transformed. And the last part is people are not able to align data science with DevOps, right? These are two different worlds, and they don't talk to each other. These are mathematicians and data wranglers. These are process developers, customer experience, design, cloud operations, support. You really need, and that's kind of where we position ourselves, is a platform in the middle that bridges a data science world with a software DevOps world. So how do people do this? They go about it three ways. I call it educate, activate, and scale. Number one, educate it through events like this. Now, what is AI? Activate, do a 90-day project. We have a method called 10-10-10. 10 days will help you select a use case. 10 hours will select a use case. 10 days we'll build a reference app using your data. And in 10 weeks, we will make it go live. Okay? And put a few $100,000. Put 400, 500,000 on it. Don't put 5 million and pray for 2 years that it will happen. Do projects in 90-day increments. Some of them may fail, but those that succeed could be game-changing. And then once you activate, then you scale by doing multiple projects like that. And I'm not going to have time to go through this. These are examples of different projects we've done. We have taken Super Bowl TV ads for NBC and given them insights on how to design a television ad. Now they've come back and said to us, can your AI help us design a whole movie in terms of what ads to put on a bowl game? Can you take a whole schedule for a week and tell us what shows and what actors should go at what time for maximum audience engagement? Okay, audio for USAA at call centers, we can detect tone and sentiment and problems with customers as they do 100 million phone calls a year. Now the AI starts listening to these patterns, and now they're saying, I want to sell this model, this audio AI model of customer churn detection, so other people can plug into it. Okay, and so on and so forth. So today, then there is text and natural language processing. People tend to look at AI as only text and NLP. It could also be documents, it could be images, it could be audio, it could be video. And that kind of goes to show what an AI can do. And I got 1 more minute left. So here are the 5 big things. One is start top down. Anyone that comes and tells me I'm doing an AI project or a big data project and I'm collecting data, I kind of go like that, saying never going to make it, right? You got to take the data in the context of a business outcome. What is the deliverable? And then start top down designing it. And then Then you have people like Ravenpack, at the risk of sounding like a commercial for them, who've already curated and got high-value data sets available for you, but you got to know what process to drive. Second, build a culture of learn fast and pivot. Fail fast, fail forward. Because a lot of these projects, Bezos said it well, anytime anyone comes to me with a project which has a 100x outcome, but has a probability of 10% or more, I always take that shot. Because that could change Amazon forever. So having that mindset where some of these projects might fail, but it's more important for me to learn, but those that succeed could be game-changing. I call it pay for success versus pray for success, right? Do 90-day, 120-day projects, not 18 months, 5-year project based on big promises from big companies. Lay down your AI business foundation and an ethical AI framework, incredibly important. How do you make sure that you don't become the next Facebook in terms of Senate hearings and EU hearings and all that stuff? What's your architecture for that? Partner smartly with big and small companies together. Build a portfolio. Not every project, not every process is AI ready. Just because you have a hammer in hand, everything looks like a nail, and technology vendors are worst at doing that to you. Figure out what are the processes where you think, you know the domain, you know the data, and then you tell us what are the processes to solve with it. And that's pretty much my end of it. I think I'm right on time, but do I have time for one question, or should we skip? Okay. One question. Sorry about rushing it. I was given 20 minutes and trying to stay on it. Okay, looks like...
I actually have one.
Okay.
You provided some really good suggestions on how to avoid some of the basic problems that anybody trying to solve a core problem faces. Now, do you believe that most companies are ready to use big data and AI, or are they still lagging? And is there still an educational gap that will make it very difficult for them to adopt?
Yeah, it's a great thing. So we did IBM Watson 6 years ago when I was asked by the IBM board to start commercializing it. I saw it last year. There was a distinct change in the market, where the board CEOs have stopped asking, what is AI? They're like, we get it that this is important, but how do we get on the curve of learning? And so this is almost like 1999 with the internet. Mosaic, the browser, came out in 95. Enterprises started adopting in 99. I think we're at that stage where companies are now, there are about 30% of the companies who have active projects going on in AI. And data is the fuel that, if you look at AI and big data, AI is the refinery, data is the fuel that the refinery sits on top of, and the gas stations are the apps, if you may. So I think companies are now beginning to implement, and we're seeing a tremendous uptake and demand of doing these projects around core processes. Okay? Thank you again for the opportunity.
This is Ravenpack.